A black CEO in first class was about to lose everything because a flight attendant refused to believe she belonged there. This seat is for premium passengers only. I need to see your real ticket. The entire cabin went silent as the flight attendant snatched the boarding pass from her hand and ripped it in half. Dr. Camille Warren's hands trembled, not from fear, but from the rage she was forcing herself to swallow in front of 100 watching eyes. The flight attendant stood there, chest puffed, arms crossed, her smile dripping with the kind of confidence that comes from never being held accountable. What she didn't know was that with one phone call, Dr. Warren could make sure she never worked in aviation again, and that was just the beginning. Camille had been traveling for 18 hours. Houston to Dubai, Dubai to London, London to Atlanta, 3 continents, 4 meetings, 1 acquisition deal worth $470 million. She was the founder and CEO of Warren Global Technologies, a black-owned aerospace software company that powered flight systems for half the airlines in North America. And right now, all she wanted was to sit in the first-class seat she'd paid for and close her eyes for 2 hours. But the flight attendant, name tag reading Stephanie Colmer, had other plans. "Excuse me," Stephanie said loudly, standing over Camille's seat in 2A. "Can I see your boarding pass again?" Camille looked up, exhausted. "You already scanned it at the gate." "I need to see it again," Stephanie said, her voice sharp and pointed, loud enough that the passengers across the aisle turned to watch. Camille pulled out her phone, opened her mobile boarding pass. "First class, seat 2A." Her name clearly visible. Stephanie barely glanced at it. "This doesn't look right," she said. Camille blinked. "I'm sorry. Your ticket. It looks altered." The accusation landed like a slap. Camille's jaw tightened. "Altered? I booked this ticket directly through the airline app 3 days ago." Stephanie's lips curled into a thin smile. "I've been doing this for 12 years. I know when something's off." A white man in 3C leaned forward. "Is there a problem?" Stephanie turned to him with a warm, apologetic smile. "No, sir. Just a little mix-up. I'll have it sorted in a moment." But when she turned back to Camille, the warmth vanished. "I'm going to need you to move to economy while I verify your ticket." Camille's heart pounded. She'd been here before. Different airport. Different flight. Same suspicion. Same disbelief. Same assumption that a black woman in first class must have made a mistake. All wise. "I'm not moving," Camille said quietly. "My ticket is valid. I paid for this seat. And unless you have an actual reason beyond your feeling, I'm staying right here." Stephanie's face flushed red. "If you don't comply, I'll have no choice but to call security." Camille looked her dead in the eye. "Then call them." But here's the part that changed everything. Within 3 minutes, 2 airport security officers boarded the plane. Both white, both men, both already looking at Camille like she was the problem. The taller one said, hand resting on his belt, "We're going to need you to deplane." "For what?" Camille asked, her voice steady. "I have a valid ticket. I've done nothing wrong." "Flight attendant says you're being disruptive. I'm sitting in my assigned seat. We can do this the easy way or the hard way." The cabin was dead silent now. Passengers watched. Some recorded on their phones. Others looked away, uncomfortable. One older black woman in 4B whispered, "This is wrong." But no one moved. Camille felt her chest tighten. She was a CEO, a doctor of engineering, a woman who'd spoken at the United Nations, and she was about to be dragged off a plane like a criminal. "I'll go," she said quietly. "But I want your names. Both of you." The officer smirked. "Sure thing. Officer Davies. Officer Holt. Anything else?" Camille stood slowly, gathering her bag, her laptop, her coat. Stephanie stood back, arms still folded, face smug. As Camille walked past her, Stephanie leaned in and whispered, "Maybe next time, fly coach. It's more appropriate." Camille stopped, turned, looked Stephanie directly in the eyes. "You just made the biggest mistake of your career." Stephanie laughed. "Yeah? And what are you gonna do about it?" Camille didn't answer. She stepped off the plane with her head high, heart hammering, vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. If only Stephanie knew who she was talking to. Camille sat in a cold plastic chair in the airport security office. They'd taken her ID, her boarding pass, her luggage claim ticket, treated her like a suspect. An officer was on the phone with the airline, barely listening, nodding absently. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. We'll keep her here until you verify. Camille pulled out her phone. 3 missed calls. 7 emails. 2 texts from her COO. Camille, board meeting moved to 6 p.m. They need your final sign-off on the Delta contract. Delta. She almost laughed. The irony was unbelievable. Camille opened her contacts. Scrolled to a name she hadn't called in months. Raymond Booker, VP of Airline Operations, Skylink Regional Airlines. Skylink was a carrier she'd just been dragged off of. Raymond had been trying to get a meeting with her for a year. Warren Global Technologies had software embedded in Skylink's entire fleet, flight diagnostics, navigation systems, maintenance tracking. Without it, their planes didn't fly. The contract was up for renewal in 4 to 5 days. Camille had been planning to renew. Not anymore. She pressed call. Raymond answered on the second ring. Dr. Warren, I wasn't expecting. Raymond, I need you to pull up Skylink Flight 2847, Gate B16, Atlanta Hartsfield. Okay. 1 second. Is everything all right? No, Camille said, her voice ice cold. Everything is not all right. She heard keys clicking. Okay, I've got it. Delayed 15 minutes. Scheduled to depart at 4:10. What's going on? I was just removed from that flight by 2 security officers because your flight attendant decided I didn't look like I belonged in first class. Silence. Dr. Warren, are you serious? Completely. Where are you now? Airport security holding room. They still haven't verified my ticket, even though it's active in your system and has been for 3 days. Raymond's voice went tight. Stay on the line. She heard him typing furiously. Then she heard him pick up another phone. Get me airport operations. Now. Be honest. What would you have done in her position? 7 minutes later, the door to the security office opened. A woman in a Skylink manager uniform stepped in, face pale, eyes wide. Dr. Warren. Camille looked up. I am so sorry. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. Your ticket is absolutely valid. First class, confirmed, fully paid. Officer Davies, the same man who dragged her off, looked confused. Wait, so she's legit? The manager shot him a glare that could melt steel. She's more than legit. She's Dr. Camille Warren, CEO of Warren Global Technologies. The officer's face went slack. The manager turned back to Camille, hands clasped like she was praying. We're arranging a private escort back to the gate. The flight will wait for you. We'll upgrade you to our premium suite, complimentary. No, Camille said. The manager blinked. I'm sorry. I don't want an upgrade. I don't want an apology from you. Camille stood, slinging her bag over her shoulder. I want every person involved in this. Flight attendant, security officers, gate supervisor, held accountable. I want a formal investigation, and I want it documented. The manager swallowed hard. Absolutely. I'll make sure. I'm not done. Camille's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. I also want a meeting with your CEO, your head of HR, and your diversity and inclusion officer. Tomorrow, in person. The manager nodded frantically. Of course. I'll arrange it immediately. Camille walked toward the door, then stopped, turned back. One more thing. That flight attendant, Stephanie Colmer. She stays on the ground until this is resolved. If she's on my flight, I walk. And I take my company's $90 million software contract with me. The manager's eyes went wide. Understood. Completely understood. Camille walked out of that office with her head high and her dignity intact. But this was only the beginning. When Camille reboarded, the cabin was still full. The passengers who'd watched her get dragged off now watched her walk back on, this time escorted by 2 Skylink managers and a gate supervisor who looked ready to faint. Stephanie was gone. In her place stood a young flight attendant named Monica, eyes nervous, hands trembling slightly. Dr. Warren, I'm so sorry for what happened to you. If there's anything I can do to make your flight more comfortable, just treat me like everyone else. Camille said gently. That's all I ever wanted. Monica nodded, eyes glassy. As Camille sat down, the older black woman in 4B leaned forward. I recorded the whole thing, she said quietly. If you need it. Camille met her eyes. Thank you. The woman smiled. We have to look out for each other. Camille felt something crack in her chest. The anger, the exhaustion, the humiliation, it all rushed in at once. But she didn't cry. Not yet. She buckled her seatbelt, opened her laptop, and got to work. And just when things seemed calm, Camille uncovered something she wasn't supposed to see. Mid-flight, Camille opened her company's secure portal to review the Skylink contract. She wanted to know exactly how much leverage she had. Turned out, more than she thought. Warren Global didn't just provide software to Skylink. They provided it to 16 regional carriers, 4 major airlines, and over 200 private contractors. But here's what caught her eye. Skylink had missed 3 compliance updates in the last 6 months. Her team had flagged it, sent warnings. Skylink's operations team kept pushing it off. That wasn't just negligence. That was dangerous. Her software monitored fuel efficiency, engine diagnostics, and safety systems. Without updates, planes could miss critical warnings. Camille scrolled deeper, and she found the emails. Skylink's VP of Operations had been in talks with a competitor, ClearPath Aviation, trying to lowball a cheaper contract to replace Warren Global's software. The same software keeping their fleet in the air. They'd been planning to drop her company all along. And now, they'd humiliated her on one of their own flights. Camille sat back, closed her laptop, smiled for the first time in hours. Oh, you want to play games, she whispered to herself. If only they knew what was coming next. The next afternoon, Camille walked into Skylink Airlines headquarters in downtown Atlanta. She wore a tailored black suit, heels that clicked like a countdown, and the kind of calm that comes right before a storm. Waiting for her in the glass-walled conference room, Tom Reichman, CEO of Skylink Airlines, Patricia Holder, Chief Operating Officer, Derek Jansen, Head of Human Resources, Simone Cartwright, Diversity and Inclusion Officer. They all stood when she entered. Tom extended his hand. Dr. Warren, thank you for coming. I can't tell you how deeply sorry. Camille didn't shake his hand. She set her briefcase on the table, looked each of them in the eye, and said, Let's skip the apologies and get to the part where you tell me what you're going to do. Tom cleared his throat, visibly uncomfortable. We've launched a full investigation. The flight attendant, Stephanie Colmer, has been suspended without pay pending review. The 2 security officers have been reassigned. We're implementing additional bias training across all staff. Not good enough, Camille said. Simone leaned forward. Dr. Warren, I assure you, we take this very seriously. Do you? Camille's voice was sharp. Because this isn't the first time something like this has happened on your airline. I did my research. She opened her briefcase, pulled out a folder, slid it across the table. 14 complaints in the last 2 years. 10 of them involving black passengers. 3 involving passengers in hijabs. 2 involving disabled passengers. And in every single case, your response was the same. A half-hearted apology, a voucher, and a promise to do better. The room went silent. Tom flipped through the folder, face pale. Where did you? I have resources, Camille said coolly. And I have a platform. The question is, do you want me to use it? Patricia straightened. Dr. Warren, what exactly are you asking for? Camille sat down, folded her hands. I want Stephanie Colmer fired. Not suspended. Fired. Tom shifted. Dr. Warren, there are legal processes. Then follow them. But if she's still employed by the end of the week, this story goes public. With my name attached. And trust me, you don't want that. Derek, the HR head, scribbled notes furiously. Camille continued. I also want mandatory anti-bias training, real training, not a video employees sleep through. I want quarterly audits of complaints, publicly reported. And I want a passenger bill of rights that protects people from exactly what happened to me. She paused. And I want a formal public apology. Not buried on page 9 of your website. Front page. With accountability. Tom looked at Patricia. Patricia looked at Derek. Simone finally spoke. We can do that. Camille nodded. Good. Because if you don't, I'm pulling my contract. And when my software shuts off in 4 to 5 days, your fleet is grounded. Tom's eyes went wide. Dr. Warren, you can't. I absolutely can. It's in the terms. Section 12, Clause 4. Breach of ethical partnership standards allows for immediate termination without penalty. She stood. You'll move. But here's the part that changed everything. Tom stood up, face red. Dr. Warren, with all due respect, you can't just. The conference room door opened. An older white man in a gray suit stepped in. Charles Hendrickson, chairman of the Skylink Airlines board of directors. Everyone froze. Charles, Tom said, clearly caught off guard. We weren't expecting. I know, Charles said. He looked directly at Camille. Dr. Warren, I apologize for the interruption. Then he turned to Tom. Did you tell her? Tom blinked. Tell her what? Charles sighed. That as of last week's vote, Dr. Camille Warren holds a seat on Skylink's advisory board. The room went silent. Camille's eyes narrowed. Charles looked at her. Your company purchased 12% equity stake in Skylink Airlines as part of a joint venture deal negotiated by your CFO and our investment team. It was finalized 6 days ago. Camille's mind raced. She'd signed off on an investment portfolio expansion last month. Her CFO had recommended diversifying into aviation holdings. She hadn't reviewed every detail. But this changed everything. Tom looked like he'd been hit by a truck. She's on the board. Charles nodded. Advisory board, yes. Non-voting for the first year, but with full access to company audits, operations reports, and investor briefings. He turned back to Camille. Which means, Dr. Warren, you have every right to demand exactly what you just demanded, and more. Camille felt the power shift in the room, like gravity reversing. She looked at Tom, then at Patricia, then at Derek. So, she said slowly, let me ask again. What are you going to do? Would you have stayed quiet in her position? Within 72 hours, Skylink Airlines issued a public statement. Skylink Airlines deeply apologizes to Dr. Camille Warren for the discriminatory treatment she experienced on Flight 2847. After a thorough investigation, we have terminated the employment of flight attendant Stephanie Colmer and reassigned the security personnel involved. We are implementing immediate reforms to our training, reporting, and accountability systems. This behavior does not reflect our values, and we are committed to doing better. The statement went viral. News outlets picked it up. The Washington Post, CNN, The Root, Essence. Camille was interviewed on Good Morning America. The host asked her, Dr. Warren, a lot of people are saying you went too far, that you used your power to get someone fired. What do you say to that? Camille didn't hesitate. I say that accountability isn't revenge. Stephanie Colmer didn't lose her job because I'm powerful. She lost it because she abused hers. She humiliated me in front of 100 people, weaponized security against me, and told me I belonged in the back of the plane. If I had been anyone else, someone without resources, without a platform, she'd still be doing it. My power didn't create the injustice. It just made sure there were consequences. The audience erupted in applause. The clip got 14 million views in 2 days. Stephanie Colmer tried to fight back. She went on a local news station, tears streaming, playing the victim. I made a mistake, she said, voice shaking. But I don't deserve to lose my entire career over it. Dr. Warren is a powerful woman, and she used that power to destroy my life. The segment got some traction. But then the older black woman from Seat 4B, her name was Gloria Tinsdale, released the video she'd recorded. It showed everything. Stephanie's smugness, her whispered comment, the way she smirked as Camille was escorted off. The video went viral, and the sympathy for Stephanie evaporated overnight. 3 weeks later, Skylink Airlines held a company-wide town hall. Camille attended as a board advisor. Tom Ryman stood at the podium. This has been a difficult few weeks for our company, he said. But it's also been a necessary wake-up call. We failed Dr. Warren. We failed our passengers. And we failed ourselves. He paused. Moving forward, We're implementing the Warren Accountability Framework, a set of policies designed in collaboration with Dr. Warren and our diversity team. This includes bias training, complaint transparency, and a passenger protection pledge. He looked directly at Camille. Dr. Warren, thank you for holding us accountable and for giving us a chance to be better. Camille stood. The room went quiet. I didn't do this for recognition, she said. I did it because I was tired. Tired of being questioned. Tired of being doubted. Tired of being treated like I don't belong in spaces I built. Her voice was strong, steady, and I did it for every black woman who's been dragged off a plane, kicked out of a store, questioned in a hotel lobby, or told she doesn't look like she belongs. We deserve better, and we're not asking anymore. We're demanding it. The room erupted in applause. Employees stood. Some cried. Camille felt the weight she'd been carrying finally start to lift. That night, Camille sat in her Atlanta high-rise, looking out over the city. Her phone buzzed. A text from Gloria, the woman who'd recorded the video. You did it, baby. You made them listen. I'm so proud of you. Camille smiled. Then she opened her laptop and started typing an email to her team. This week reminded me why we do what we do. Not just to build companies, but to build power. The kind of power that protects us. The kind that speaks when we're silenced. The kind that makes sure the next black woman in seat 2A doesn't have to fight the way I did. Let's keep building. She hit send, closed her laptop, and finally let herself breathe. Dr. Camille Warren didn't just win a battle that day. She reminded every black woman watching that dignity is non-negotiable, that our presence in first class, in boardrooms, in positions of power, isn't a favor. It's a right. And when the world tries to drag us down, we don't just survive. We rise. We demand accountability. And we make sure it never happens again. Because that's what queens do. If this story fired you up, drop a comment and let me know. Have you ever been treated like you didn't belong? How did you handle it? And if you believe in holding people accountable, hit that like button and subscribe. Because we're just getting started.